Micronesia for 85 years. Matson, celebrating 25 years of commitment to Guam, Micronesia, and the CNMI. Cars Plus, Guam's leader in sustainability and electric vehicles. Learn more at carsplusguam.com. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it. And King's Restaurant, serving your local breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites for over 45 years.
Hafide, welcome to KUAM News Primetime. I'm Nick Delgado.
And I'm Destiny Cruz. Thank you for making us a part of your day.
Well, Des, residents struggling without power and water continue to bear the brunt of Typhoon Mawar. For some, like Heavens Court resident Vicky Patau and her family, the lack of utilities for 2 weeks now is a life or death situation.
She speaks with our Mitsuki Hirayama, sharing frustrations with the government's response.
People still without power and water are bearing the brunt of Typhoon Mawar and sharing frustrations with the government's response. Joining me here now is Vicky Tapao, a resident of Jigo. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
And can you tell me, what was the storm like for you and your family here?
It was a nightmare. It was horrific for us because we got the severity of the storm here and our house got flooded. Debris was all over, but we were able to be safe during the storm.
And you mentioned without power here still after 2 weeks. It's a life and death situation, especially for your brother who needs the oxygen.
And he's a veteran, yes. And I have another brother who's bedridden. I have reached out to the governor and her administration. We've had the Guam Power Authority bucket trucks come here 6 days ago, all in convoying, and got the transformers in place and the lines all stretched out. After that, we haven't seen them since. They just almost immediately vanished. I know everybody's in turmoil on this island, but my situation is a life and death. My brother wandered off because of the agitation and his oxygen was not working. He wandered off and he was gone for about 3 days. And by the miraculousness of God, I found him. He came back. You know, he was without his medication. We're still without power. I've been calling the dispatch, busy. No bucket trucks are within sight in the last 6 days. Nothing. Nobody's come up here to, only the mayors have come to check on us. So that's our dilemma. You know, you people down in the legislature, that are there bickering and fighting whether or not to give the people monies and what have you, shame on you. I thought the feds outlawed the cockfighting on Guam. This is me talking from the heart. Yet we have cockfighting going on in the legislature. I'm sorry. We got the Tandan and the roosters down there fighting whether or not to give or not to give. And when the cameras go on and the lipstick comes on, they fight, right? No problem. But hey, people realize that what if, worst case scenario, families deep in the jungle are found, God forbid, worst case scenario, right, dead because they have no way to get out. They had no food, and that was it. What do we do from there? Do we leave that as a rude awakening? They put the cart before the horse. Powers were being restored in Tamuning, the $1 million homes, the $500,000 homes, those were being restored. Us people up here with life and death situations, we're in the back burner. What's up with this, Come on, put things in perspective. We are an island of resilience, humanity, compassion, and for the few select with silver spoons, nothing of sufferings, okay? So here we are in this. I prayed on this morning, and God gave me the discernment to speak. And I got my notes, but I'm just speaking freely out from the heart. So man, let's get it together. Let's please help the poor, the suffering. All you people in your lush glass houses and you got your air conditions, there are people out here truly in turmoil. Where are you guys? What are you guys doing about this?
The Guam Environmental Protection Agency is investigating reports that undrinkable water was delivered to certain companies.
Julian Hernandez has more, but to be clear, this does not include water supplied by the Guam Waterworks Authority.
So I am here with Captain Byrne with Guam EPA along with Mr. Nick Lee regarding the non-portable water investigation going around places that is selling possible drinking water. Half a day, gentlemen. How are you guys doing today?
Half a day. Good.
Okay, so what is the current contents of your investigation so far? What have you, what are the results of those assessments?
Sure. Well, we just Guam EPA learned about 1 day ago that certain facilities were receiving water delivered by trucks that are not rated for potable water delivery. These are non-potable trucks. In many cases, they're trucks that are operated by construction companies prior to the storm for purposes such as dust control. So there is no control over the quality of these trucks and what materials may have been inside these trucks before drinking water was delivered. What we've heard so far is that these trucks have delivered water to certain apartment buildings, even some hotels, and perhaps some restaurants as well. So what we have right now is we have two teams, two strike teams that are out in the field right now with Guam EPA staff and federal EPA staff. They're going to be visiting the companies that operate these trucks to find out where they've delivered water to take samples from these trucks so that we can get at least some direct confirmation of water quality, and to instruct these trucking companies that whoever they deliver water to they must provide the do not drink notice that went out by social media last night, which was a mistake. That was supposed to go directly to these individuals, not to social media. So that's what they're out there trying to do right now. What we want people to know is if they're in a facility that received water by truck delivery, right now in Guam there are no approved potable water delivery trucks except for those operated by GWA to hand out water at their what they call their flex tanks. Those are approved, but every other truck that's been delivering water to apartments, hotels, restaurants are not approved for potable water delivery. So we want to make sure the people that are in those facilities do not use that water to drink, because even boiling that water will not necessarily make it safe because we don't know what was in that water. If it's a chemical contaminant of some sort, boiling will not get rid of that. Boiling is meant for microbiological contamination only. The water that you receive from GWA right now is safe to drink after boiling. GWA has a precautionary boil water notice out for all their water systems. The water, if you receive water from a GWA tanker truck itself at one of their distribution sites, that water is also safe to drink with boiling. But this other water that's being received right now is not safe because we do not know what was in those trucks before the storm.
Right. And I know that you're still, I guess, early within your investigation. We do have other stores, like other mom and pop stores and other grocery stores that do sell drinking portable water. Are you guys getting reports that they're possibly being delivered to those areas as well?
We have not received any reports yet that those stores that provide the drinking water vending machines, as we call it, which are regulated by the Department of Public Health and Social Services, by the way. So there's a crossover there between Guam EPA and DPHSS, and we are cooperating with DPHSS. We've not received any reports yet that water was delivered to those facilities. Those facilities, as far as we know, are only receiving GWA water. Public Health can answer questions more specifically about those, but those systems provide additional treatment, which mitigates the risk to some extent with the GWA boil water notice.
Senators held a roundtable hearing on the school system's typhoon recovery effort.
GDOE's top management and many school principals took a brief pause to update lawmakers and express their concerns. Acting Superintendent Dr. Judy Wampat is urging passage of an omnibus bill to take care of several different issues facing GDOE. One is to modify teacher certification in the midst of 289 vacancies and a growing exodus. She's asking that requirements be loosened to expand the pool of otherwise qualified teachers.
She also wants senators to allow GDOE to shift money so that they can use available federal ARP for payroll and then draw down local funding for capital improvements as the payments come due. Finally, Wampat is asking that senators temporarily waive the requirements of a recently passed law mandating schools meet safety requirements be closed. Wampat says it is not a money issue, it's procurement.
Once we do the scope of work, once the procurement office starts the process to put the IFB together, our legal counsel reviews it, they send it to the AG. If he has any question, it goes back again. So that process has been shortened for us. But there are still other problems, of course, in terms of dates now. When we would put it out for bid, then they submit their proposal. Then we evaluate their proposal, and then we award. All those take months, literally. And we're following everything. Our legal counsel is making sure, we are making sure, and I say this primarily with emphasis because we're talking about federal dollars. We're talking about us being under They're a probationary period to get out of high risk. So we're not going to do anything to jeopardize, what we're trying to do with procurement to go out there and repair our schools. It is frustrating. I hear from the principals that they are frustrated. I'm frustrated as well. We all are.
Also weighing in was Aguila Johnston Principal Rebecca Perez and Education Chair Senator Chris Barnett.
The situation that we're in now that was compounded by the natural disaster, it looks very grim. And I'm wondering, besides our department, what is it that we can do as one government? One government, one people, we owe it to our kids to provide them a better and safer place. We've heard all the reasons why we can't get the schools running. But why? Look at this building. Our children deserve to come into a building and be educated in a building such as this.
So again, I don't want anyone here to think that we're just throwing this impossible task on you guys. We're always willing to listen and to, I'm not saying no right now. I'm saying that I'll consider it, but and hearing from Mr. Phil in Facilities and Maintenance and realizing that there wasn't any real significant damage caused by the typhoon, and then seeing that a lot of the purchases that can be made with emergency procurement, I'm very optimistic that we are going to still be able to move with our foot on the pedal and move forward, as long as we're moving forward. Yes.
In other news, the new superintendent, Dr. Kenneth Swanson, arrived last night and will transition in the permanent head of GDOE.
Residents who have been impacted by Typhoon Mawar will have more places available to get assistance from officials with the Federal Emergency Management Agency. The Joint Information Center announcing that 2 additional disaster recovery centers are set to open tomorrow, Thursday, at CL Taitano in Sinahania and the mayor's office in Nilalahan. The centers will be operating from 7 in the morning to 7 at night.
So far, more than 13,000 people have applied for disaster assistance. Residents can also still register with FEMA at the centers located at GCC in Manilao and at the Dededo Sports Complex. Guam homeowners and renters who were affected by the storm can also register with FEMA by calling 1-800-621-3362, visiting disasterassistance.gov, or downloading the application on the FEMA app.
Guam police are investigating a theft complaint at Guam Homeland Security offices in Agania Heights. This as the building has been swarming with government officials responding to the storm and the aftermath. It was on June 3rd, officers responded to a theft complaint at the Guam Homeland Administrator's office. The office belonged to now former Administrator Samantha Brennan, who resigned for health reasons last Friday.
KUAM has learned prior to her departure, Brennan reported to authorities that her office has been cleared and her passwords were apparently missing. GPD spokesperson Officer Byrne says the investigation is ongoing and interviews are being conducted. No additional information is being released at this time.
The administration is putting to quick use the $50 million in typhoon recovery funding authorized by the legislature last week.
The governor issued an executive order Tuesday which guides the spending. Nestor Lecanto spoke with Director Edward Byrne on where and how the money is being used.
First, I wanted to start off with, so the legislature, of course, as you know, passed the $50 million appropriation for emergency recovery expenditures. Could you give us an update on where that money is being spent, how and when?
Yes, at the moment, as of yesterday, and I got a list yesterday, which will be updated today, most of the money is being spent for cleanup. So there's a lot of money for equipment, rental of equipment, acquisition of equipment, and landscape cleanup, and also fuel for that's needed to power that equipment. So that's the main part of what's being spent. There's also a little bit of expenditure on food and other commodities, but that's mainly coming from the other sources which we mentioned before, were FEMA and the Red Cross.
All right. Just anecdotally, we're getting a lot of people commenting on, or lamenting, I guess is a better word, the $500 that Senator Shelton had proposed, and whether or not any of that money would be able to come out of this $50 billion. And can you just clarify that?
Yeah, no, the 50 million is for recovery efforts. As Lester and I both mentioned at the committee of the whole on Elton's bill, cash assistance is available from the Red Cross. It turns into a kind of credit card, but it's basically cash assistance, and FEMA also offers individual assistance.
Okay, there's also authorization for overtime. A couple of questions on this. Can you explain that? And also, are government employees being paid double pay currently?
Double pay, and I can only speak as far as the line agencies are concerned, because other agencies can make their own decisions. But for the line agencies, double pay is paid during Core 1 and Core 2. So those who work during Core 1 and Core 2 will be paid double pay. And there's a law that actually sets all this out. And so it's section 6226. So we're operating that law, which doesn't actually mention double pay, but does mention payment of overtime during these periods. For people working under the emergency, but working additional hours, overtime is available, and that generally will be at time and a half.
All right. And do you have a sense of how much and how many employees are going to be availing of this?
No, I don't at the moment. Payroll is being processed at the moment. We're also processing the payment for the members of the National Guard who are on state duty, who are doing a sterling job, both at traffic jam and other places. So at this moment, I don't have that information. It should be available when we process the payroll. It should be tomorrow.
All right. Administration Director Edward Byrne, thanks for your time. Back to you guys in the studio.
Director Byrne says a breakdown of the spending will be available online, and they expect to make a full accounting of the legislatures once the island has fully recovered.
Now to the latest on recovery efforts coming from the CNMI. Here's regional correspondent Tomas Manglonia.
The American Red Cross Northern Mariana Islands chapter continues assisting Rhoda in their recovery after Typhoon Mawar.
For those who had really, major damage or their homes are not habitable anymore, we provide financial assistance. So we've got a staff member and 2 volunteers and our Rhoda volunteers working today and tomorrow to meet with all those families that were the most impacted, and we are providing financial assistance.
He said they estimate 15 to 25 families, or roughly 100 people, are eligible for the financial aid, which will be provided through a credit card. They can also withdraw money with it at an ATM.
With the financial assistance, that it's based on 2 major criteria. One is, how bad your damage was and how many people live in the home. So if you have 2 people in the home and you have major damage, you'd get a certain amount. If your home was completely destroyed and you had 8 people, then that amount would differ. Just again, trying to meet those emergency needs, immediate needs.
Rhoda did not receive an individual assistance declaration under FEMA.
Our services, unlike FEMA, you don't have to be a U.S. citizen. So anyone who's experienced the damage, regardless of their citizenship or their status or their ethnicity, we provide the assistance to them.
And the American Red Cross had boots on the ground on the first flight out of Saipan to assess the community's needs.
We also layered upon our disaster distribution of our emergency supplies. So fortunately, thanks to the U.S. Coast Guard and the C-130, who ran several sorties from Saipan to Rhoda and back, we were able to load quite a bit of our humanitarian supplies on those flights, and those included mosquito nets and cleaning supplies and hygiene kits and tarps and all kinds of different things that were essential to people, especially during those first few days.
They worked with Rhoda Mayor Aubrey Holcook to distribute daily rations provided by federal and local governments. Now their focus turns to the next phase, recovery.
So we go out and we meet with the families that were most heavily impacted, and we sit down with them and really do a much more detailed assessment of how many people are in the home, what exactly happened, and what are your emergency immediate needs. Not necessarily what you would want, but what do you really need at this time.
Tomas Maglonia, KUAM News, Saipan.
A free webinar hosted by the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce, the Guam Hotel and Restaurant Association, and the Guam Chamber of Commerce is being held on Thursday.
It's a brief Guamanians about the typhoon relief resources available to them from FEMA and the USSBA and the Small Business Development Center.
The road to recovery continues in the wake of Typhoon Mawar, and we have two amazing ladies that are leading Guam's efforts so that our community, our business community, our social community can make it back into a point of prosperity. Jessica Leangro is with the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce, and Mary Rhodes, of course, the president of the Guam Hotel and Restaurant Association. Thank you so much, ladies. And there is a webinar scheduled for tomorrow to help our community do just that.
Yes, we are encouraging all those who are looking for assistance. We have a webinar, a disaster recovery webinar starting at 10 a.m. via Zoom. We will be very fortunate to have representatives from the various agencies from FEMA to SBA and SBDC who will be with us talking about the various resources that is available to Guam as we are on this road to recovery.
And Mary, who is the target audience, and is there any cost for people to jump on the Zoom and avail of this information?
It's actually a free event, and we encourage everybody to log on. We will be recording it so that we can share it out with the community through all media outlets, and we encourage everybody to attend. We really wanted to share this as a community outreach between Guam Hotel Restaurant Association, the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce, together with the Society of Human Resource Management, and of course Guam Chamber of Commerce. The reason why the audience is really both for individuals as well as businesses, but we know a lot of businesses have HR managers, professionals, general managers who have a lot of employees who are in need. So it's really available to the community, the public, as well as all the businesses who have to help navigate all of these resources for their employees.
Okay, and then just real quick, it is, as Mary said, it's a free resource. Is registration required at all, and people can just tune in and watch?
Yes, please go and register today. We are available. Please follow us on Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce on our Instagram. You can go on KUAM, you'll see the link there, or you can also go to ghra.org. I'll call GHRA at
649-1447. We will also have the live streaming recorded session on our YouTube channel as well as Facebook post.
All right, so Jessica Leangro and Mary Rhodes helping get us back to a point of prosperity. Ladies, thank you again. Cesar Smasi.
Thank you, Jason.
For current Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, households experiencing food loss as a result of the typhoon, the Department of Public Health and Social Services is launching a program to replace any food purchased through their SNAP EBT cards.
Here's more. Food loss. It's a hardship that many households across the island are experiencing as a result of Typhoon Mawar. For those under SNAP, Public Health is now launching a program to further support them during this difficult time. As we were mentioning, the food loss program under the Department of Public Health. I'm here with Christine St-Nicholas.
So the food loss program is basically for SNAP recipients. They're current SNAP recipients. I have to make that very clear. And if they've lost power for more than 4 hours, and because of that, they basically use their SNAP EBT card to purchase food, and that because of the typhoon, they had lost, what they spent. So the food loss program is very simple. They basically fill out an affidavit, and we have it at different locations, such as the Northern Public Health. We have them here. We have them also at Southern Public Health. We also have the Guam Relief Center, which is at the GCC. So we have our ladies that are there that are able to pass it out. They can pass it out, they can fill it out, they can submit it at the same location.
Right. And also, I just wanted to follow up on that. You mentioned that it's current SNAP households. So what households fall under that?
Well, those are basically active SNAP recipients who received their actual May benefit.
All right. And then also you mentioned that they can also get an affidavit. So what does that entail for households?
Sure, the affidavit is just basically testing that you have lost power or you've lost food for different reasons, when you lost it and how much you lost.
Great. And you also mentioned off camera that you guys are already inundated with requests from SNAP households and that people are duplicating their requests. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. So we have different methods to try to make it accessible, right? So first, they can drop it off at any of the centers. Number two, we do have WhatsApp numbers that you can take a picture as long as you sign the affidavit and you can send it through. The other method is also by email. So all we ask, if you sent it already through WhatsApp, please don't inundate our email because it's just duplicating the efforts and we're not able to get to those others that are also waiting.
Right. And then last question for you, how many people exactly, or do you have a number of how many people have already participated in this program?
Well, I know that we received probably over 700 forms already since yesterday, not counting today. And we did process last night about a little over 300 applicants out of the 400 that we received yesterday.
Wow, all
yeah,
right.
Kind of an average. Yeah.
Definitely already busy. So there you have it, Christine Nicholas under the Department of Public Health. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Guam Animals in Need and the Department of Agriculture's Animal Health Division distributed free pet food at the Department of Agriculture in Manila.
Mitsuki Hirayama has more.
We're here at the Department of Agriculture where animal control officers and Guam Animals in Need are helping out to distribute pet food for families impacted by Typhoon Mawar. And joining me here is Matthew Demapon. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, yeah.
And can you just explain what is the process like for people who are coming up here to get the pet food that they need?
Well, you know, we've actually been getting a lot of good feedback lately. Had a little minor slip up this morning, but then as far as the coordination goes, we've been doing well so far. A lot of people are very grateful for the dog food, especially during this time. So I believe, it's been good so far.
And what's something you want to tell people who are driving up here to get the food?
Well, it is first come serve. We do have a limited amount of dog food, so as of right now, I believe we're running out of the 45-pound bags. So we're doing them in 1-gallon bags. So it'll all depend on the amount of dogs that you have, but yeah, it's first come first serve. So if you can, make your way over here so that way we can get it out to everybody.
And how long are you guys going to be stationed out here for them?
As long as the dog food lasts. If it runs out, then it runs out. So which is why it's very important to get here as soon as possible.
All right, thank you so much.
No problem.
And you can make your way up here. It's the Department of Agriculture in Manila.
Hello, I'm doing great, and I'm so thankful for these guys and their assistance. In the back seat, please. On the other side? Oh, yeah, thank you.
And how do you and your pets fare during the storm?
Okay, we rescued one dog, and she delivered 4 days after the typhoon. So this is a great help. And then we have 10 cats, stray cats that we feed every night, and they come to the house. So, whatever comes to the yard, we just feed.
So this service is really helpful.
This is really helpful because for a bag of dog food here in Guam is $56. So this is a very big blessed grace from these guys and God.
And anything else you want to say to people who are maybe struggling to feed their pets in the aftermath of the typhoon?
They should come here and take advantage of this assistance because it's a great help.
Congratulations, class of 2023, presented by the University of Guam.
Hauptverday, my name is Boaz Shills, and I'm the valedictorian of the graduating class of 2023. A few of the highlights of my high school career are winning first place in the paddling championships for long distance race, and then winning second place for the sprints in paddling for varsity. And then a second highlight would be like messing around in our chemistry room, rushing our preparations for the titration competition. And then my last highlight has to be going to all the barbecues, the games, and actually we even had a water slide at one point, all those cool events that our class hosted throughout the year. Those are my highlights. A teacher that made a difference in my life is Miss Menshu Reyes. She's my calculus teacher, my statistics teacher, my algebra 2 teacher. She's basically everything under the roof of math at our school. And the reason she made a difference in my life is because she was always pushing me to do more than I expected I could do or more than I even wanted to do. She had volume projects with integral calculus going on. She made me do like statistics project, like 10-page statistics projects and all that. And I ended up enjoying it. You know, I ended up being able to go into the lab and like mess around with a lot of stuff and kind of like learn what I wanted to do with my life, and learn that I wanted to do engineering, and learn that I wanted to play around with all these things, mathematics and whatnot. And Sheldon made a difference in my life socially, because she taught me that you can also be funny and sarcastic and all these things while being very professional and academic. My plans after high school are to attend Georgia Tech and pursue a degree in electrical engineering. My ultimate career goal is to work as an electrical engineer in the fields of renewable energy or anything that requires circuitry or chip manufacturing. My message to the underclassmen is to pursue everything that crosses your path, whether that be clubs, activities, competitions, sports, anything. And also make sure to not only invest yourself in the academics, make sure you go to the parties with the boys, make sure you go to the volleyball games, make sure you go to the basketball games, everything.
My name is Joshua Galsum. I attend Flower Dwayne's Memorial School in Chalampago. I am the salutatorian for the graduating class of 2023. Some of the highlights I would include from high school would be my participation in NJROTC, which gave me a lot of opportunities to grow in leadership and responsibility. Second, I would also say my participation in ACB, especially our intramurals, in which my team actually won first place. And finally, I would also say my experience in the Guam History Day, in which we and my partner won second place in our category for group documentary. A mentor that made a real difference in my life would be my swimming coach, Gary Chester. Every week I would attend his practice, and through all of that since summer, he has taught me the virtues of discipline and perseverance, which is something that I could really carry on for the rest of my life. My plans after high school are to attend 1 year at the University of Guam, and after that, pursue college in UC San Diego. My ultimate career goal is to pursue a degree in law and hopefully become an attorney when I grow up. My advice to underclassmen is to always live in the moment. For many of us, high school is the best 4 years of our lives that pass by when we don't realize it. So always use this as an opportunity to try things that are outside of your comfort zone, but also don't pressure yourself to live up to unrealistic expectations.
Congratulations, class of 2023, presented by the University of Guam.
It's birthday wishes time.
Here's your Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club shout-out submitted on KUAM.com.
It's the middle of the week, everybody, and we have a single belated birthday wish to say. So, happy birthday number 21 to Keegan O'Hare. Keegan, all of us, your KUM family, your Guam family, your friends and neighbors, all of us, your fellow Guamanians are wishing you a very, very happy 21st birthday. We hope you celebrate safely and have a wonderful birthday.
That's your Primetime show. Thanks for watching. I'm Nick Delgado.
And I'm Destiny Cruz. We will keep sharing the latest ion recovery reports on KUAM.com and at KUAM News on social.
Stay strong.
And stay beautiful, Guam.